All right, so how did you start working at the Alexandria House?
I was at training. Ruth Beaglehole was the presenter, and it's for training for nonviolent parenting. So there was probably about, I want to say, 10 women, and Sunny was one of the persons that was there, and she was working at Alexandria House at that time. She still is. She's the associate director. I felt comfortable after a couple of days, like talking to her. So I needed a part-time job along with my full-time job. So I asked her if there was any openings, and she says, "Oh my God, yes, we need somebody." So when she went back, she said, "I'll talk to you tomorrow." She told Judy a little bit about me, and then they asked me to come in for an interview. Yeah,
What year was that?
that was 2006.
Let's see. What services do they provide here?
They provide case management. They provide therapy for the women here. They help with job leads. There's childcare on site for the women that live at Alexandria House. We help them with tokens. Any referrals that they ask us, like if, for instance, they need like a referral to a doctor or a clinic, free clinic, like we will give them. We offer them a support group. Yeah, and a place to stay. And a place where, this is a place where it's like staying in a home. Myself, I don't look at it as a shelter. I just look at it as like a big house with several families living together. When I'm working with the women, I don't see them I don't see myself higher than them. We're all the same. We're all equal. You know, even though I have a position here as a case manager, I'm equal with them. So I don't, And one of the other things I like working here, and it's because I get to dress very casual.
What is your definition of domestic violence?
My definition of domestic violence is verbal abuse. It could be financial abuse, physical, mentally.
Did you ever experience domestic violence, and would you be willing to share about it?
Yes, I have. I was in a DV relationship, but prior to that, growing up, my father was very abusive to my mom. He would, and I love my dad, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's not here with me anymore, but I forget. And I see things different, totally different. He's been gone for like 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Because prior to coming to Alexandria House, I was working at Ocean Park Community Center, and I was working at a domestic violence shelter. So I worked at the crisis shelter for 1 year, and then I worked at the second stage shelter 4 years, I want to say, maybe 5.5, and then I came over here. So I got training over there, and it helped me to understand why my brother was so abusive to my mom when he got older. When you witness as a kid, you can either choose not to be an abusive person yourself, and for me, I would always say, if I ever have kids, I'm never going to put my hands on my kid. I'm never going to be abusive to them. And I never was. Like my brother, he was very abusive to his wife. The reason why he was so abusive to my mom is because she failed to protect him as a kid. So she was seeing all that when my dad would hit him, and she wouldn't do anything because if she did, she would get her ass whipped. I think I was 15, at first my boyfriend wasn't abusive. I think after about 3 years, he started getting really abusive with me, but he was using heavy drugs. Right before all that was happening, I ended up getting pregnant, and I had a little girl, and his addiction got really out of hand. So we were constantly fighting. There was a point in my life when I turned to drugs myself. Yeah, I was a functioning addict. I used to work for General Telephone, and I worked for 5 years there, but it got so bad, and during that time, I lost my daughter through the system. Okay, because I'm okay to talk about my life, because I feel like when I need to share something like that with the woman that has lost their child, I want them to know that if they really try hard, they can get their kids back or their kids. So I got her back. I did everything I needed to do, and they closed my case.
May I ask, how old is she now?
She is 33.
And then, how old was she when you got her back?
She was about 8 years old. I was in and out of her life for about 5 years, so I think she was like 4, and then I got her back when she was about 8.
And did you guys have a close relationship?
Oh my God, we have a very close relationship. I have 2 grandkids, and everything that I did wrong, that sometimes when growing up and you're not doing the right things, she didn't turn the path that I chose. She's a really good mom, and I love her to death. Like I said, when I worked for Ocean Park Community Center, I had a lot of experience, and also working with women, and I think that's one of the reasons why Judy had me come over here, and I was only here part-time, and she offered me a full-time job, so I had to leave that Ocean Park Community Center, and I'm really glad I did, because there I can't share anything of my story with anybody. It's everything. I mean, I did break some of the rules on that, because I felt like there was times where the women needed to hear something.
Yeah.
Just to give them some kind of hope, and I've pretty much been through a lot of things they have been
My
through.
question for you is, what still needs to be done about domestic violence?
I think it still needs to be, people need to be educated,
Yes.
especially some of the lawyers that we have, some of the judges, because working with DV victims, and some of the social workers too. I mean, because a lot of times when the kid is taken from the mom, and there's a father involved, I kid you not, they're really, really, really hard on the women, but on the man, the father, they're so easy. And so I think it needs to be more out there. I think with any job, there needs to be like a DV training.
So my last question to you is, how can people spread awareness about domestic violence?
I think by sharing their story and just being really open
Get it
about
all
it.
out.
And just talking to people about it, like when I meet somebody new or a client comes in, because some of these ladies, believe it or not, they didn't even know they were being abused. You think, sometimes I was starting to think, oh, how couldn't they?
Yeah, why do you think that is, that they don't even realize that they're in a DV relationship?
I think some of it is denial, and I think another part of it is because they love their husband so much. They depend on him, because a lot of them too, support and their financial support is through us. So if they feel, if I leave him, what the hell am I going to do? Like, graduate. Yeah, and there needs to be more shelters built.
Yes.
We get so many calls a day where there's no shelters available, and they're calling every day, and it's not even the same people. Calling, asking if we have. I know that our country helps a lot of other countries, but I think they need to focus on what's going on here today, and they need to help the people here and build some apartments or other shelters where people can. We're not government funded.
Yeah, well, Liz, thank you so much. You've been really helpful.